what's up, you guys? It is I, Viney Marino. Just kidding, V name Marino. And over there, oh my gosh, it's Greg Tepper.
It's your internet friend, your parasocial pal, Greg Tepper. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome into the pre-show before the free show. Ashley Pickle is out today. She has decided to pursue other career opportunities, and for that, on those, we wish her the best.
I'm wearing a Christmas sweater for her.
In her memory.
Yeah.
In her memory.
Long live Pickle.
So normally, V&A, this is the pre-show before the free show where we kind of talk about nonsense before we talk about football. And so sometimes I have some news stories I'd like to tell you about.
Nonsense.
May I tell you about a news story?
Go right ahead.
Dateline, Hanover County, Virginia. You're familiar with Hanover County, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me everything about Hanover County.
I'll let you tell it.
Okay. This is in Ashland, Virginia. A masked burglar broke into a closed Virginia liquor store early on Saturday morning.
Okay.
And hit the bottom shelf where the scotch and whiskey were stored. The bandit was something of a nocturnal menace. Bottles were smashed, ceiling tile collapsed, alcohol pooled on the floor. The suspect acted like an animal. I'm reading from a CBS News report. Because, in fact, he's a raccoon. Well, on Saturday morning, an employee at the Ashland area liquor store found the raccoon passed out on the bathroom floor at the end of a drunken escapade. That's right.
Is it a grand old time?
I'm looking at the pictures. Yeah.
Dang it, I wish we could see.
He did. There are at least 15 bottles that are broken that I can see.
Whoa.
Yes. And he apparently...
Me if I was an
And
animal.
then they found there was a photo of this... let me see if I can blow this up big enough for you guys to see. There's a photo of the suspect on Facebook. There he is. Who amongst us? Let he who has never done that cast the first stone. Yeah, this raccoon broke into a liquor store and was getting sauced.
Wow. He must have been celebrating. Hey, leave him alone.
You know what?
Did we
Hey,
help him?
listen, it's the holiday season.
It's the holiday season.
It's the time for revelry.
Did we get him some Pedialyte? Like, did we get him some electrolytes?
See, that's the thing. So they called animal control, right? Yeah, the Hanover County Animal Protection and Shelter commended Martin, who was the responding officer, for handling the break-in and confirmed the raccoon had sobered up. Quote, after a few hours of sleep and zero signs of injury, he was safely released back into the wild, hopefully having learned that breaking and entering is not the answer.
I'm glad he didn't die.
Oh, and I'm also glad that he didn't face any charges. Like, this is... Like, we gotta. I don't want to dissuade
That's
raccoons
the way to
from
do it.
doing
I hope
this.
all the raccoons who are listening.
Yeah, to all of our raccoon friends. Yes, this is quite something. A raccoon that. But again, who amongst us has not had a little too much to drink, passed out face down on the bathroom floor?
I wonder if his friends were there and took any video.
Yeah, his video's like, look at you, idiot. It was like he had like permanent marker on him at the end of it.
Except he didn't need any.
You know what? I'm going to say it. To this Hanover County raccoon, you are the Texas Football Today Listener of the Week.
Yes!
Congratulations. Congratulations. All right. Hit the theme expo. Yes, yo! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show with a desk. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the editor-in-chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine and TexasFootball.com. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, if you are watching us on, I don't know, any number of defunct social media platforms. If you're watching us on MySpace, thanks. Shout out to you guys on MySpace. Or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, twisting all the dials, pulling all the levers, sliding all the sliders. She's our friend, Vianney Moreno. Hello, Vianney Moreno.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Today is Thursday, December 4th, 2025. A mere 357 days until Thanksgiving. Happy early birthday to Max Tepper. Max Tepper, often like a drunk raccoon in a liquor store, a wild man.
That was Max.
Turns 4 tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
He will actually turn 4 at 2:28 a.m. So hours from now. That's when he was born.
Aww.
Yeah, he was born.
Did Hank have a good birthday?
Hank had a great birthday. Hank had a very, very, very good birthday. He got happy birthday sung to him at least 4 times, which is good.
That's awesome.
Which is good. He had and then he's got a birthday party on Saturday at Charles Entertainment Cheese.
Ooh,
so
that sounds fun.
From that anyway, it is episode 1904, I
Yes.
think. On today's show, folks, that's right, is Regional Final Thursday. We are going to get you ready for the football weekend. First, we're going to my top 10 Texas high school football games of the week. An increasingly difficult task and an increasingly, what's the word I'm looking for? An increasingly divisive topic. Because there's only 44 UIL Texas high school football playoff games this weekend, and I've narrowed it down to the top 10, and it was very tough. We'll have that. Then we're going to be joined by the head coach of the CE King Panthers. Coach Corey Laxon will join us live from Sheldon ISD. We're going to talk with him ahead of their big rematch with district rival Humble Summer Creek. Then, the picks, my high school football predictions for all 44 UIL Texas high school football playoff games this weekend. Excited about that. Then we'll be joined by Craig Way, the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer, who joins us every Thursday to talk a little high school football and Texas Longhorns as they await their fate. Doesn't look like they're making the playoff, but we can talk about what bowl game they're heading to. We'll round it all out with Mailbag, answering your questions about high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, drunken raccoons,
Yes.
drunken rodents. No, he's not a rodent. He's like a rascal.
Okay.
But anyway, we'll get into that in just a little bit. Do we have first four through the door?
We do. We have Jerry Massey, Joey Hill, Tony Blaylock, and Dave Campbell's.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks to whoever commented. I appreciate that. All right, Vianney. Boy, it's the regional finals and the state semifinals in Class 1A. There's only 44 games this week. Did you know, by the way, here's a fun fact that'll take 2 seconds.
Go ahead.
Did you know there's
1,
only
2.
76 UIL Texas high school football games left this year?
76?
76. 44 this week, 20 next week, 12 the week after that. So we're
like
coming
the
up on it.
countdown to Thanksgiving, the best
We're coming up on it, folks.
time ever.
We do not have much time. And as a result, all the games are getting bigger, all the games are getting better, and all the games are getting more difficult to narrow down into my top 10 Texas high school football games of the week. Starting with number 10, Aledo and Denton Ryan. That's number 10!
That's what Blaine said.
That's how good a week it is. This is one of 20 rematches that we will have in the Texas high school football regional finals. And we can talk about the matchup. We can talk about the fact that Aledo beat Denton Ryan back in week 6, 15-14 in a thriller. The closest game Aledo's played by a considerable margin. We can talk about that. We can talk about the fact that I think Alito's defense is peaking. We can talk about the fact that it does feel like the Ryan offense has started to find its groove, and their defense has been excellent all year long. We can talk about all that. What I want to talk about is the context, because you may remember last year we were in this exact spot where Denton Ryan, coming off of a loss back in week 6 to Alito, played them again in the regional final. And this time, Ryan reversed the whip, and Ryan was able to get the win. Can Alito avoid that fate a second consecutive year, or will Ryan have a little something? Fascinating ball game going on this week. This game going down at, I had a whole document with all the games. There it is. This game going on 7 o'clock Friday night in Justin. Number 10. Number 9, Richmond Randall and Iowa Colony. That's number 9.
Gracie.
Another rematch of a district game. Another game we've seen before. It's the Region 3 final in 5A Division 2. And we thought we might get it again. This game is a rematch of a Week 5 matchup in which Randall came back and beat Iowa Colony 49-42. And again, Randall's closest game of the year by far. I love the matchup of firepower here. Iowa Colony's got tons of dudes, like Jaden Warren on the outside. Randall, of course, has Landon Williams-Callis, perhaps the best running back in the country. But here's the storyline here. Over the last 2 seasons, Iowa Colony is 24-3 in the last 2 seasons. Pretty good. 24-3. Every one of those losses is to Randall. Every one of them. They are undefeated against teams not named Richmond Randall, and they are winless against Richmond Randall.
Wow. Can
they finally get over the hump 7 o'clock Friday night at Legacy Stadium in Katy? That's number 9. That's number 9. Number 8. Highland Park and Frisco Lone Star. This is not a rematch of a game we saw this year, but this is a rematch of a game we saw last year in the regional final. And this is unbeaten Highland or Lone Star against Highland Park. And I want you to consider this game's going down at the Star in Frisco.
The Star.
Highland Park has never lost at the Star. That is their playoff venue of choice. And they've never lost there. They're undefeated. Well, it's a home game, theoretically, for Frisco Lone Star. And Lone Star's got the dudes. Carice, from a superstar perspective, this is a no contest. As much as I like Buck Randall at Highland Park, he's a playmaker. Graylin Fry, Davian Gross, Carice Hoyt. Lone Star's loaded. But Highland Park has had their way with Lone Star, including last year. This is going to be a lot of seeing how the Highland Park defense, which has been mostly pretty good, holds up against that firepower, and can Lone Star make sure that they avoid what I call the Highland Park trap, which is Highland Park gets off the bus, and you see Scots across the front, and you're down 14-0. Don't let the game be decided in here. This is a fascinating ball game. I am fascinated to see which of these defenses, which have mostly been good, but at times been touched up, which of these step up on the big stage with a spot in the state semifinals on the line. That's number 7. I'm sorry, that's number 8. Number 7, Bremond and Mount Enterprise. Folks, 7 o'clock Friday night in Palestine, we could witness some history. So Kagan Ash, the star running back for the Mount Enterprise Wildcats, is 224 yards away from becoming the new single-season rushing king in Texas high school football and breaking Kenneth Hall's 72-year-old record. It can happen on Friday night in Palestine. He was spectacular last week against Overton, 420 yards and 6 touchdowns. This is a really intriguing matchup because I think it's good on good. Because this Mount Enterprise offense has been electric. It's been unbelievable. But the Bremont defense has been excellent as well. They got a lot of playmakers there. Their offense is pretty good as well. We don't know what the status of Tank Scott, their running back, is. This is going to be a fascinating ball game, especially with history potentially hanging in the balance and a spot in the state semifinals. The Mount Enterprise defense has been passable. Can Bremont take advantage of that with Sam Kozlowski at quarterback? Tank Scott, however healthy he is. It's a huge game in 2A Division II with a spot in the state semifinals in the line there in Palestine. Number 6. Humble Summer Creek and Sheldon C.E. King. We're going to talk with the head coach of the C.E. King Panthers, Coach Corey Laxon, coming up here in just a little bit. This is another one of those rematches. And you've got to go back to week 6. I believe it was week 6. He said confidently. Week 7. When C.E. King beat Summer Creek 42-28 and got a real signature win. Remember how that game went. C.E. King raced out and ran away and hit. They're 42-0 at halftime. So in a lot of ways, 42-28 is generous to Summer Creek. But Summer Creek has found a way. They found a way last week against Katy. Noah Spinks has been terrific. They've got playmakers all over the place, like Benny Easter, Jamaica Jones. Can they keep the running game going with Braylon Causey? Can the defense slow down Deion Sims, Timothy Potts, one of the fastest teams in Texas high school football? A massive game at Thorne Stadium in Houston. C.E. King and Summer Creek, a District 23 6A rematch for the Region 3 title in 6A Division 2. That's a lot of numbers, but they all make sense to me. Number 5. Shiner and Junction. Sports gun to my head, this might be my favorite game of the week. Might be my favorite game. Battle of Unbeatens in Hutto for the Region 4 crown in 2A Division 2. It's a rematch of a game we saw in the regional final last year in which Shiner kind of smushed Junction 27-0. I love the quarterback matchup in this one. Chasen Doyle, the 4-year starter for Junction, he's been spectacular. Going up against Jarvis Williams, the kind of, I don't want to say makeshift quarterback, but he was put in there because their starting quarterback, Jake Simper, was hurt for the first half of the year. But he has added an element to this split back veer attack for Shiner that they just haven't had in past years. He's a legit game breaker at quarterback. Both defenses have been excellent all year long. They've kind of been circling each other all year. Now we get it. This is going to be a physical football game. This is going to be a hard-hitting football game. If that's your thing, make your way to Hutto this week because Junction and Shiner is going to be box office stuff. That's number 5. That's number 5. They're 4 games better than this, theoretically. Number 4. Port Neches Groves and South Oak Cliff. Oh, these two teams. Let me tell you that I think that obviously the history here, they played in the 2022 title game. South Oak Cliff won. They won the 2023, played in the 2023 title game. P&G won. They played in the 2024 regional finals. South Oak Cliff won. The history is part of it. These two fan bases do not care for each other. They've chirped at each other for 3 consecutive years now. On the field, when South Oak Cliff has the ball, that's going to be so much fun to watch because the running game with Levon Morton and Mikhail Trotter up against what has been a very good and improving P&G defense. That's the difference. It's not just very good, it's also getting better. They held Midlothian Heritage under 100 yards last week. That's the money matchup. The other side is going to be interesting because P&G has been without quarterback Connor Bailey, who is such a straw that stirs the drink. Their sophomore quarterback came in last against Ennis and looked great against Ennis in the area round. Really struggled in the regional semifinal against a South Oak Cliff defense, which is really, really strong. A lot of emotions in this game. Who can handle the emotions? It's 7:30 p.m. Friday in Bryan. It is a box office affair. Two programs that know each other really well. A lot of intrigue in this one. South Oak Cliff and B&G. Number 3, Jayton and Klondike. Let's punch a ticket to AT&T Stadium. It's the 1A Division II state semifinal, and it is, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of a lot of six-man experts, the game of the year in 1A Division II in the smallest classification. These are the two teams that have been number 1 and number 2 all year long. Both undefeated. Klondike is trying to get over the hump. Jared Quintanilla, their 4-year starter at spread back. They got a star on the outside in Cannon McGee. They got dudes. They've been excellent. Going up against Jayton, who's been mostly untouchable. Last week they had to survive Benjamin, but that's a good Benjamin team. Bodie Ham, Sean Stanland. 28 wins in a row. A 29th would put them in an opportunity to defend their crown. This is the game of the year in the smallest classification in Colorado City on Friday night. Jayton and Klondike. Number 2, Allen and North Crowley. Yeah, let's do it. It's big boy football. It's the defending 6A Division I state champs in North Crowley up against unbeaten Allen. North Crowley, I think, is coming off their most impressive win of the year. It's not just because they beat Coppell. That helps. But their most impressive win of the year because it felt like the most complete win of the year. They dominated Coppell defensively. And the running game with Keontae Ingram and Jarrell Smith. Hayes Cloutier, their quarterback, is starting to get humming. This North Crowley team, whereas last year, it felt like they were consistently at this level. This year, it felt like it's been like a build, but they're getting that level. Going up against Allen, team we've talked about all year long. Capital B back. 13-0. 13-0. Coming off of a no contest against an overmatched Odessa Permian team. I don't think that's necessarily out of bounds to say. They dominated them. The running game really got going with Lyndon Spriggs and Jaden Hambrick. And the defense was really good as well. My eyes are on Jeremiah Dowd, the quarterback for Allen. He has got to make big-time throws against what has been a pretty salty North Crowley defense, and especially a pretty salty North Crowley secondary. That's the question. First and second down are huge in this. Nobody wants to be living in third and long in this game. This is a massive game that will ultimately tell us a lot about what 6A Division I is going to look like the rest of the year. North Crowley and Allen. That game's going down in Denton. But it's not the number 1 game of the week. No. Number 1! North Shore and Dickinson. 6A Division I, Region 3. And it is the team of record in 6A in Houston, the North Shore Mustangs, winners of 7 consecutive regional titles, with maybe their stiffest test of the year, and maybe one of their stiffest tests of the last few years, at least within Region 3. North Shore has been getting better and better, I think. Ever since they had that weird Week 11 loss to Summer Creek where they just didn't look good, but in the playoffs, they have been unbelievable. Caleb Maryland just keeps getting better and better every week. The defense is peaking. The defense is flying around. Well, here comes Dickinson. Dickinson might have the best resume in the state. Plain and simple. Got a win over C.E. King. Got a win over Katy. Got a win over Pearland. Rolled past Houston Strake Jesuit. And I think that as impressive as Lorenzo Aguirre, their quarterback, has been, as impressive as Caleb Patterson, who's kind of their running back and also a real threat out of the backfield to catch the ball, has been, I think the Dickinson defense has been what has really been strong. These are two supremely talented ball clubs. These are the two best teams, at least in 6A Division I, in the Houston area. And they will go at it Friday night at TDECU Stadium in Houston. This is an enormous game with massive implications, not just for this year, but kind of for what the future of Houston football looks like in the largest classification. North Shore and Dickinson, my number one game of the week. So there it is, my top 10 Texas high school football games of the week. You can stream a number of these games on Dave Campbell's Texan Live starting tomorrow night. I don't think we have any games tonight. There's only 2 games tonight, by the way. Refugio Mason is tonight down in San Antonio, and then Gunner and Leonard are playing tonight as well at a place that I can look up. They are playing in Melissa. There's only 2 Thursday night games, but a ton of games tomorrow night on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. Make sure you check it out. We are Texas Football Today. We're here Mondays and Thursdays on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbells, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. V&A, let's go to the Bology hotline. Let's go down to Houston way. We are pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Sheldon CE King Panthers. Coach Corey Laxton joins us. Coach, how are you?
I'm good. I'm excited. Fired up.
Well, I imagine it's fun times down there at CE King. You guys are absolutely rolling. I want to ask you that if I had come to you in the offseason and I had said, hey, Coach, by the way, you're going to be in a regional final against Summer Creek. You guys are going to be rolling there at 12-1, or 11-2 rather. Would you have believed me, or has this team lived up to your expectations, or have they exceeded them?
You know, playing 12 sophomores, I think it exceeded them. So if you would have told me that back in the spring, I would have took that all day, you know. Yeah, right now we're playing 12 sophomores, 10 to 12, 10 of them playing key roles. It's just, of course, exceed the expectations. But I knew, I got asked the question earlier, when did you know you were going to be good? Mm-hmm. And I said when I got here in the summer and it was 200-plus kids at the camp. I was like, okay, the culture's changed. We're good, opposed to the 105 the year before. So I was like, okay, things are going in the right direction. And so I also knew that during spring ball, when I had to have quick whistles so that we wouldn't take each other's head off, that we were going to be a pretty physical football team. So just exciting times around here. We're very appreciative of the moment, and we can't wait for this opportunity tomorrow night.
I do want to ask you a little bit about putting your stamp on this program, because you're a guy, you took over about a year ago, took over as head coach when Coach George Young stepped down. You are no stranger to this program. You've been part of this program. And this is a program that it's not a rebuild. You guys have been wildly successful. How do you balance that it ain't broke, don't fix it, with also putting your own stamp on this program? How have you kind of gone about that and making sure that this is your program while keeping, obviously, the good stuff intact?
Yeah, no doubt. You just had, the culture here need to be changed. And you kind of tell that, where I've coached, I coached at North Shore for 10 years, so I kind of know what success looks like. I coached under a great head coach in John Kay, and I seen how he did it. My first year over there was with Coach Amon, and then when Coach K took over, it was kind of like a train that was rolling. You just decided to step into the engine, into the engine room. But he did some different things, man. And I took note of all that stuff. I may not have wrote it down, but I do remember it all. I was a young coach at the time, and the blueprint he put out there, I mean, we're 2 miles away, from them. So you're not dealing with very different kids. You just got to be able to move. We had to be able to change the culture here. And a part of that is just being consistent on a day-to-day basis and holding these kids accountable. And, when you do it consistently, they start to buy in, and these kids have bought in, and we're excited for it.
Obviously, the results on the field kind of speak for themselves. And I want to ask you, I want to do what all coaches love to do, which is talk about a game you lost. I want to go back to Halloween, where you guys played North Shore tough, and the Mustangs came out with a win. Since that, you guys have been untouchable. You guys have been blasting people. Was there something that you took from that Halloween loss to North Shore that has you guys rolling right now?
I think you learn the most from your losses. Obviously, you learn a lot from your wins. If you're doing it right, you learn a lot from your wins, but you learn the most from your losses because you can go back through there and find those key plays that could have made a difference in the game. And, we started off slow against North Shore, and it had been a while since that had happened. We get back into the ball game, and at one point, I believe it was 27-28 in the third. And so it was one of those deals where we just, in the Dickinson game, we learned a lot. We learned that special teams plays a key role in that loss, right? We learned that, hey, how important is special teams? So we learned that in that game. In the North Shore game, we learned we got to be able to finish. And so when you start taking those kind of things away from those losses and really pouring it into the kids, they start buying into it. And then, and now when you hear them repeat it, we got to finish. So, that's the goal this week. Play 48 minutes, regardless what the scoreboard says. Let's do 48 minutes and see if we can finish this thing.
Corey Laxton, head coach of the CE King Panthers, join us here on the Balaji Hotline on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at hashtag TF Today. Coach, you mentioned the 48 minutes has been the mantra there, making sure you guys finish. But the first 8 minutes of your games have been critical as well. You guys have gotten out to fast starts and run away and hid from people. How much of that is just a matter of attitude? How much of that is intentional for you guys to say, we're going to come out there and we are going to land the first, second, third punch and knock them down before they even know that the game started?
It's just the mentality of the kids. These kids, they're all playmakers.
Mm-hmm.
You can go through the list of kids that we got that touch the ball on our team, and all of them have that big play potential. So, when the offense coordinator calls a play, it'd be great to say you're going to score every time you call a play, but that's not the reality of it. But somehow these kids make it happen most of the time, but that's just because we got some really good kids that are being coached hard, and they're not complacent, and we're just, we stay on them, and these kids just want to be great. I was worried early that we're playing these sophomores and they're going to hit that sophomore slump, that sophomore wall where the grind kicks in. But man, these sophomores are hungry. These kids are hungry, and when they carry that chip on their shoulder, you don't ever know what you're going to get out of them. And sometimes you just, you're surprised, and everything is good. We're talking about special teams earlier in one of the other conversations I had, and they were talking to me about it, and I said, well, I really like the way our special teams playing, but our punter only punted 5 times in district play, so there's not a lot to go there. But this week special teams going to play a key role, and it's been a huge focus for us, and but starting fast, we're just been pretty fortunate.
One of the guys you mentioned, playmakers. One of the guys is who's obviously a huge playmaker for you guys is Deion Sims, kind of the bell cow back for you guys. A guy who has yesterday signed with your alma mater, the Rice Owls. We've watched a lot of highlights of him, and he's a lot of fun to watch. But you're the guy who sees him in practice. You're the guy who sees him around. What is it about Deion Sims that makes him special?
His leadership and his consistency. It's hard to follow guys that preach it but don't live it. Mm-hmm. He's a guy that if he tells you to do something, you better believe he's done it or he'll do it. And he's a guy. If he tells you to add weight in the weight room, you don't need to look over your shoulder because Deion's adding weight on his rack. And he practices hard. He does everything the right way, and he's an easy kid to follow because of that. So. He deserves everything he's getting right now. He's worked for everything. And so, having a kid like that on your team, they don't come very often. And so I'm hoping that some of these young kids see what he's doing and the effect he's having so that next year to carry over onto them.
The other thing, for all the talk about your offense, which has been so spectacular between Deion, between Timothy Potts and all these guys, it feels like the defense has taken a really nice step forward. 30 takeaways on the year. They're getting in the backfield. They're disruptive. What is it about this defense that has allowed them, even though playing, as you mentioned, a lot of youngsters, what has allowed you guys to make that step defensively?
I think it was just growing into the scheme. We're starting three sophomores on D-line. And so we're starting 5 on defense. So it's one of those deals so where I think it was just learning and growing and taking your bumps and bruises early and knowing that, in our district, every week's a playoff game. I mean, one game could take you out of it. And so the mentality's been set. It's just a matter of them growing into the scheme, learning it, knowing the adjustments. And that's pretty much, it's just them getting comfortable. And then when they're comfortable with it, now you can start adding more wrinkles and more adjustments to it because they're going to be able to make those.
Finally, Coach Corey Laxton of the Sea King Panthers joined us. It goes down tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at Thorne Stadium. You guys get a rematch with a team you saw about 2 months ago, Summer Creek, a team you guys beat 42-28 that you guys, we talked about starting fast. You guys, that might have been the best example of you guys starting fast. We hear all the time it's hard to beat a good team twice. I don't want to ask you to give away your game plan and all the trade secrets, but when you take a look at what you're up against tomorrow against Summer Creek, what do you see?
They're a solid coach football team. I mean, that quarterback they got there with that receiving core. I mean, the quarterback does a good job getting the ball to his players, to his receivers. He does a good job of creating extra time in the pocket. And they understand how to adjust to him on the scramble, and he does a good job throwing it on the move. I do know that they're a different football team than we've seen a few months ago, but so are we. So, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to attention to detail tomorrow night as far as who takes this game. But I'm excited about our opportunity. I know our kids are. It's hard beating the same team twice because it's the mentality of going into it. Oh, we beat them. But at the end of the day, we have not played this team before because this team is a different team, different personnel, maybe a change in some schemes, and so are we. So they haven't seen us either. So you can say there's a chip on your shoulder, but at the end of the day, it's a regional final game. There's no chips needed for that.
He's Corey Laxton. He's the head coach of the regional finalist CE King Panthers. Coach, we so appreciate your time. Congrats on all your success, and looking forward to watching your boys tomorrow. Bring home a winner. I appreciate it. I thank you for everything. Appreciate it, man. Absolutely. There he goes, Corey Laxton, head coach. The CE King Panthers joined us here on Texas Football Today. I mean, it's hard to remember. Sometimes it's easy to forget that he's a first-year coach. He took over last December. Been on the staff. He's got obviously history there at North Shore. He's a Galena Park guy. Went to Galena Park High. But learned under John Kay, and he has put in that toughness in CE King. We knew they were always going to have speed, but I think the thing that has really impressed me is the toughness that the CE King team has shown. They'll get an opportunity to make it to a state semifinal if they can beat Summer Creek one more time, but that is not going to come easy, as Coach mentioned. It's going to be a lot of fun. We appreciate Coach Corey Laxton hopping on with us. We're Texas Football Today here Mondays and Thursdays on TexasFootball.com. Talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And see us at TexasFootball.com. Coming up after the break, my brave, courageous predictions. That's not true. For all 44 UIL Texas High School football playoff games this weekend in the picks. And then we'll be joined by Craig Way, the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. But first, I would love for you to hear these messages from these partners that we truly value.
Hello, Candace.
Not you again.
Me again. Remember our last oil change? Your boyfriend said he knew a guy who knew a guy. None of those guys knew what they were doing, including you, Todd.
Silence your oil change anxiety at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, where you can watch our experts change your oil right from your car.
Thanks for coming in.
And finish in about 15 minutes. Valvoline. Service you can see, experts you can trust.
Pour some sunshine with new First Light Community Coffee's first ever light roast. This blend has notes of honey and brown sugar that will brighten any part of your day. Try First Light now at communitycoffee.com.
Friday night football is here, and Hometown is trusted by thousands of schools across the nation to make game days effortless. Sell tickets online, easily scan them at the gate, track sales in real time, and keep your community connected with a free athletic website. Make every game a Hometown game. Visit hometown.com to learn more.
Every legend starts with a vision. For Dave Campbell, that vision was clear. Tell the story of Texas football like never before. In 1960, he built something no one had before, a magazine that became the Bible of Texas football. Coaches, players, and fans didn't just read it, they lived by it. His words shaped the game. His vision built a legacy. And his name? It will always be written in the story of Texas football. Dave Campbell's Texas Football, where legends begin.
Welcome into the Picks, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, your guide to the Texas high school football playoffs. My name's Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you had a great Thanksgiving weekend. I know I did, and I know a lot of teams across the state of Texas had a great Turkey Day celebration. We are down to the regional finals. Just 44 games this week, 88 teams. We've narrowed it down from 704 all the way down to 88, and we're into December. And it's getting serious because right now, you can start to dream. Right now, you can start to be like, 2 more wins and we get to go to Arlington. 2 more wins and we get to be etched in Texas high school football history. 2 more wins and we get to play for it all. It is a massive week of Texas high school football across the state of Texas with regional titles on the line. We will go through all 44 games. We start in Hutto. 7 o'clock Friday night at Hutto Memorial Stadium. It is a 2A Division II regional final between the Junction Eagles and the Shiner Comanches. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, defense first. We're going to talk about the offenses here in a second, but both these teams hang their hat on their defense, and they have been absolutely lights out. That has always been a traditional strength for Shiner, a team that made it to a state championship game a year ago, and their defense has been terrific, again, led by Clayton Fritz. For Junction, their defense is allowing just under 9 points per game, led by Brian Gonzalez. They have been outstanding. They're coming off of a really impressive victory over Granger in the regional semifinals. So, with December on the horizon, which of these defenses can step up? Key number 2, a tale of 2 quarterbacks. So both these quarterbacks are excellent, but they've both taken kind of different journeys to get to this point. For Junction, it's been as scheduled, as expected, with quarterback Chasen Doyle, now a 4-year starter, and what a playmaker he has become, really blossoming, growing, not just year by year, but also week by week. He looks like a guy who's playing his best football right now, a true field general operating the Junction offense. For Shiner, it has been anything but expected. They expected Jake Semper to be their quarterback. He was the guy who led them to a title game last year, but he broke his hand and missed the first half of the season. So they take wide receiver, the sophomore Jarvis Williams, and put him at quarterback. And he's been a revelation. He has been arguably the most dynamic player in all of 2A Division II this year, leading that split back veer offense and giving them a running game that they have really needed. They've got Jake Semper back. They've just kept Jarvis Williams at the quarterback spot because he has been such an asset to them in allowing Jake Semper to be a huge help in other parts of the team. So both these quarterbacks have a story to tell, and both of them have an opportunity to take their team to the state semifinals. Which of them will come up big? And key number 3, the Falls City connection. So follow me on this one because both these teams are undefeated, so it's hard to point out weaknesses and split these two teams because they've both been so excellent this year. But they do have a really interesting common opponent, and it's the Falls City Beavers. So Shiner played Falls City in district play, and the Beavers gave them a real run. The final score was 21-14, and Shiner came away with the win, obviously, but they got pushed by the Beavers. Falls City also played Junction twice. They played them in non-district play, and then they played them again in the playoffs, and Junction had no trouble with Falls City, beating them by a combined score of 90-13 in those 2 games. And so you might look at this and say, okay, well, we have a data point here that would show that Junction handled Falls City a lot better than Shiner. Now, I don't know if that necessarily holds up, right? Because there can be matchup issues. Maybe Junction just matches up better with Falls City. Falls City knows Shiner a lot better, so maybe they just have a better game plan for them. But it's certainly worth considering. The question is, when dividing these 2 teams, how much does that path to get here matter? Who am I picking? I'm going with Shiner. The Comanches get the champion's advantage here. They are the team that won the region a year ago. They're the team that played for a state championship a year ago. They have been in these big spots before. They knocked out Junction in this spot last year. They are, in my opinion, the team to beat. And Jarvis Williams' addition to the split back veer offense, I think, has really given them an extra gear. Now, for Junction, I think the first quarter is absolutely critical. Go back to last year's regional final. Shiner jumped out on Junction early, and they basically held them at arm's length the rest of the way. Junction is much more suited to play from ahead in this game. They need to strike early and send a message in this ball game. But for now, I'm going with the team that did it last year. I think Shiner moves on to the state semifinals. 7 o'clock Friday night at Thorne Stadium in Houston. It is a 6A Division II regional final as the Humble Summer Creek Bulldogs take on the Sheldon CE King Panthers. This is one of 20 games we've already seen this year, 20 rematches in the regional final. This was a Week 7 contest in district play, and it was a signature victory for CE King, 42-28 over Summer Creek, and they were spectacular. Since then, in the playoffs, CE King has been exceptional. They have beaten their first 3 playoff opponents by a combined score of 159-13. They are rolling right now. For Summer Creek, they're here, but they have had to battle through some adversity. They had a crazy come-from-behind win over Katy last week to get here, but they are here, and that is all that matters. Go back to the Week 7 matchup. What mattered in that ballgame? Well, Deion Sims for CE King ran for 160 yards and a score, and Timothy Potts, their quarterback, threw for a pair of touchdowns. They had great balance, but more importantly, CE King jumped on Summer Creek early, and they made Summer Creek abandon the running game. Now, as good as quarterback Noah Spinks is, as good as their wide receiver core with Benny Easter and Jamaica Jones is, I think that this Summer Creek attack is a lot better when they get the running game going, led by Braylon Causey. They have got to be balanced. I think the first quarter in this ball game is absolutely critical. It's going to tell us a lot about the way this game is going to go. I think CE King, their defense is the difference. I think the Panthers move on to the state semifinals. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Green Stadium in Bryan. It is a 5A Division II regional final as the South Oak Cliff Golden Bears take on the Port Neches Groves Indians, and they're at it again. These two teams have become very accustomed to one another. To catch you up, back in 2022, South Oak Cliff knocked off Port Neches Groves in the state championship game. 2023, P&G returned the favor and knocked off Sauk in the state championship game. And then last year in the rubber match in the regional final, it was South Oak Cliff with an emphatic victory over the Indians. This year's matchup, the good on good, the money matchup here is the Port Neches Groves defense led by Jackson Winfrey going up against the South Oak Cliff offense, specifically the running game with Mikhail Trotter and Levon Morton. South Oak Cliff ran for almost 500 yards last week in their win over previously unbeaten Terrell. Meanwhile, P&G held Midlothian Heritage to under 100 total yards in their regional semifinal win. So that's the good on good. That's the money matchup. That's what we're all paying to see. The other side of the ball is where things get complicated because Port Neches Groves quarterback Connor Bailey is out for the year with an injury, and that just sucks. Like, we can just say that sucks objectively because we want to see these two teams at full strength go at it, and Connor Bailey has been such a star for this P&G program. They will turn now to the sophomore backup Jake Ashworth, who has been serviceable. He was really good in his first win in the area round over Ennis. Last week, Midlothian Heritage made him look a little bit more like a sophomore. That is going to be the challenge up against what has been a ferocious South Oak Cliff defense. This is going to be a real challenge for that sophomore quarterback, and I think that is going to be the difference here. I think that the South Oak Cliff defense comes up with a couple of big plays. I like the Golden Bears to come away with a win. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Vernon Newsom Stadium in Mansfield. It's a 4A Division I regional final as the Alvarado Indians take on the Salina Bobcats. It's a battle of unbeatens and an opportunity for Alvarado to dethrone the state champs. Alvarado rang up more than 500 yards in their win last week over Springtown, previously unbeaten Springtown. And what can you say about this offense? KJ Jenkins, their quarterback, has been terrific. DeMarcus Belton, my goodness, at the running back spot, a threat out of the backfield to catch it as well. He has been been absolutely remarkable. That will be a real challenge for the Salina defense, which is traditionally very sturdy and very sturdy again this year, led by Luke Biagini. Here is the ball game, and that is, what is the status of Bo Bentley, the quarterback for Salina, the Dave Campbell's Texas football cover boy, and a guy who is committed to Oklahoma, one of the very best quarterbacks in all of Texas high school football. Left last week's game in the second quarter against Decatur with an injury, did not return. And that is a huge question, because obviously he is the straw that stirs the drink, and they're already been without their star running back, Logan Gutierrez. This is a wounded Salina team. So for now, I am going to assume that Bo Bentley plays. And if Bo Bentley plays, I think Salina gets the win. If he doesn't, obviously that comes with a huge asterisk, and I know I'm kind of waffling here at this, but he is such an important part to this ballgame. I like Salina with the champion's advantage if Bo Bentley is healthy, but we're obviously paying a lot of attention to this one. 7 o'clock Friday night at Gustafson Stadium in San Antonio. It's a 3A Division I regional final as the Llano Yellow Jackets take on the Edna Cowboys. It's the Region 4 final, and we have not talked enough about the Llano defense. My goodness, the number 5 scoring defense in all of 3A Division I. Austin Humphreys leads the way for this ball club defensively. They make plays. They have 40 takeaways this year. 40! They've been unbelievable at taking the ball away. And by the way, they're getting healthy at the right time. Quarterback Luke Davis, who missed a long period of the season with injury, is back, and he is dealing. Well, here comes the giant. Because Edna has not just been a Region 4 force, but they have been a particular thorn in the side of Llano, knocking them out of the playoffs in 2 of the last 3 seasons. Now, last week, they squeaked by Cinderella story Ingram Moore, thanks to a defensive masterclass led by Hunter Buring. They're going to need to get things going. We know what they want to do offensively. They want to run the dang ball with Maverick Robertson, but they can also throw the ball a bit with Trevor Floyd. They're a little bit more balanced, I think, than they have been in the past couple of years. If Llano's going to do it, it's going to be this year. This does feel, though, like Edna may just have Llano's number. And I hate to say that, but I think that that is the case, because this Edna offensive line, I think, is going to be the difference in this ballgame. I like the Cowboys to move on to the state semifinals. And we will punch our first 4 tickets to AT&T Stadium in Arlington this week in the 6-man state semifinals. 6:30 p.m. Friday night at Wolf Stadium in Colorado City. It is a 1A Division II state semifinal between the Jayton Jaybirds and the Klondike Cougars. It is the game of the year in 1A Division II. A battle of unbeatens, and at the very least, the winner of this game will be the favorite to win the state championship, because the West, Region 1 and Region 2, will probably be favored over the East, Region 3 and Region 4. And this is the game we've been waiting for. Jayton, the defending state champs, winners of 28 in a row, they have been spectacular. Quarterback Sean Stanlin has been great, and they have got Bodie Ham running the ball as well. This team is loaded for bear. Well, here comes Klondike with spread back Jared Quintanilla leading the way, and they have a superstar junior in Cannon McGee who can do a little bit of everything in this one. Look, this, like I said, this is the game of the year, and your mileage may vary. If you think that Klondike is going to win, you are absolutely right. And if you think Jayton's going to win, you are also absolutely right. At this point with this game too close to call, I go with the champion's advantage. Jayton's been there. They've done that. They do it again. I think the Jaybirds return to AT&T Stadium to defend their crown.
The Picks is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Don't have time to go to a Dick's store this week? Just go to dicks.com.
Yo, these KDs are fire. Bro, you work here?
Whatever, kid. Take notes. Yo, I can go all pro in these.
I can guard you and route you up.
You sure about that?
Not anymore.
Fellas looking for a quarterback?
The goal!
Billy needs cleats. You're right, Billy. These do bring out my eyes.
Every shoe for every athlete, only at Dick's.
Dick's is the GOAT.
But those are far from the only big games in the regional final of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. Let's get to the lightning round. In 6A Division I, I like Galena Park North Shore over Dickinson, and it's the DFW game we've been waiting for. I like North Crowley over Allen. It's a rematch of a District 11 6A matchup, but I think Duncanville avenges that loss with a win over Waxahachie. And I know that Austin has dominated San Antonio, but there's something about this Johnson team. I like San Antonio Johnson over Lake Travis. 6A Division II now, I like Southlake Carroll to stay perfect with a win over Denton Geyer. Dripping Springs and Vandegrift played back in the season opener, and now they'll meet in the regional final. I like Drip to beat Vandy, and give me DeSoto, who may be playing better than anyone in Texas right now, to beat Willis. 5A Division I now. I think Frisco Lone Star finally gets past Highland Park, and it's a district rematch. I like Aledo over Denton Ryan. Another district rematch, I like Smithson Valley to take down New Braunfels. And another district rematch, I like Port Arthur Memorial to stay perfect with a win over Barbers Hill. 5A Division II now, I like Argyle in a close one over Melissa. I'm riding with Bernie to take down Alamo Heights, and give me Richmond Randall to take down Iowa Colony again. 4A Division I now, I'm going with Kilgore to take down Fort Bend Crawford. I think San Antonio Davenport dethrones regional champion Lavernia, and give me Stephenville to stay perfect with a win over Canyon West Plains. 4A Division II now, it's a rematch of a non-district neutral site game. I like Waco La Vega over West Orange Stark, and I've been riding with Midland Greenwood all year. I'm hopping off the bandwagon now. I think the Rangers take down Brock. I think Sinton gets some revenge with a win over Cuero, and I'm rolling with Carthage to take down district rival Athens. 3A Division I now, points will be at a premium, but I like Paradise over Peaster. Give me Columbus to keep rolling with a win over Yoakum, and I'm going with Pottsboro to get a win over Grandview. 3A Division II now, I like Wall to stay perfect with a win over Idalou, and I like Tidehaven to stay perfect with a win over East Bernard. Give me Newton to keep rolling with a win over ARP, and Gunner takes down district rival Leonard. 2A Division I now, I'm riding the hot hand. I like Stinnett West Texas to take down Cisco, and after a cathartic win over Ganado, I think Refugio keeps it rolling with a win over Mason. Region 2's been so unpredictable this year, but I like Axtell to get a win over Hamilton, and I ain't picking against Joaquin. Playoff Joaquin is here. I think they get a win over St. Augustine. 2A Division II now, I like Bremond to beat Mount Enterprise, but keep an eye on this one. Kagan Ash of Mount Enterprise could set a number of records in this one. I like Groover to get a win over Stratford, and I like Munster to beat Lindsay in the Kraut Bowl 2.0. And we're punching tickets to AT&T Stadium in the 6-man semifinals. In 1A Division II, I like Richland Springs over Strawn. In 1A Division I, I like Gordon over Union Hill, and I like Water Valley over Rankin. And those are the picks. I picked all 44 UIL Texas High School football playoff games. So now you can let me know, what am I wrong about? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com, where you can find complete coverage of the 2025 Texas High School football playoffs at texasfootball.com/playoffs. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the regional finals. We'll see you. Does that guy ever shut up? There's the picks, my high school football predictions for all 44 UIL Texas high school football.
So much Tepper, yeah.
Regional finals. It's too much. that man has to be stopped. I'm going to be honest. And by that man, I mean Sam Moore, the guy who edits it.
Yeah, that guy.
Anyway,
he's the real one.
We appreciate you paying attention to Sam Moore and his work. VNA, let's go to the hotline. We are pleased to be joined, as we are every week, every Thursday, by the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer, the host of the Craig Way Show on AM 1300 The Zone in Austin, and the voice of the Texas Longhorns is our friend Craig Way. Mr. Way, how does today find you?
It's a little chilly down here, but that's okay. Folks, they know what December football is all about, as you and I know. Of course, Longhorn fans are hoping December football would mean more than just a bowl game at the end of the month, but that looks like it might wind up being the case. Friday night stirring win over Texas A&M notwithstanding.
I do want to ask you, start with that, because the last time we heard your voice was when you were calling Texas's pretty impressive victory over the previously unbeaten Texas A&M Aggies. That was... I've read a lot of analysis of that game and a lot of what went right for Texas, what went wrong for A&M, this, that, and the other. Obviously emotions are high in that ball game. From your perspective, what was the difference for Texas? What is it that Texas did in that game that allowed them to pull off what at the very least, as far as records and rankings are concerned, is an upset?
Well, I think, first of all, and this was something that you and I talked about for 3 weeks, could they get a running game going? Could it get consistent? And in the run-up, not just the Georgia game, but the Vanderbilt game prior to that, the Arkansas game, could they get a running game going? And the answer was in large measure, no, not enough of one anyway. They ran the ball at times against Arkansas and at times against Vanderbilt, but it was still heavily reliant on the pass game. And, of course, they had no running game of which to speak after the first series against Georgia. So it was, the universal question, can it happen? Well, they found it. They certainly found it, but they didn't find it initially. It was kind of a defensive struggle during the first half, and the Longhorns only had 3 points at the half, but you could start to see them breaking a run or two. And in the second half, when Travian Weisner had a huge second half, wound up with 155 yards rushing, the Longhorns were able to run the ball on that Aggie defense. The other question is, can you get pressure from four? Can you get pressure on the quarterback from your down lineman and blitz by design and not by necessity? And that's what they were able to do, and they forced Marcel Reed into a couple of interceptions and forced him from the pocket and had him under duress a lot of the time. So I think those were the things. And then, of course, you add into that the motivation of playing your arch rival and it's senior night and all those things. But Sark always likes to say, play with emotion, but don't play emotional. And I think they did play with emotion, and they executed well enough. And you're going to have to beat a team that is as good, and they are very good, as Texas A&M is. So that's why they felt so good coming out of that win, because they knew they'd beaten a really good football team.
There was some chatter, and obviously Coach Sarkisian was doing some politicking to see if Texas could get into the college football playoff. That seems extremely unlikely at this point based on the rankings that came out on Tuesday. And so now it is on to the bowl game. And so I will ask you a very selfish question. Do you have a preference on the place that you get to travel during bowl season? Because, you're going to go wherever they go, whether, if they go to the Hawaii Bowl or they go to the Pinstripe Bowl or they go to the First Responders Bowl. I've seen them rumored for a couple of different places, Citrus, Gator, places like. Do you, Craig Way, if you can start politicking your way to get yourself a trip to somewhere, do you have a preferred landing spot?
Well, let me put it to you this way. After all those years in the Big 12, and of course they've been to the playoff in back-to-back years, so that's a different thing entirely. And it was really cool last year in that quarterfinal in the Peach Bowl. That meant that the Longhorns now have played in every one of those New Year's Six bowls at one time or another throughout their football history. But through the past decade and a half, if we're being real, it had been a steady diet of Alamo Bowl and Holiday Bowl. San Diego's a nice town. It's not that nice in December. It's drippy and cold, kind of like how it is here in Austin today. And I love San Antonio, and I love the Alamo Dome, and it's got great sightlines for calling football games. But, if you've been there 5 times, you've kind of seen it. So the new frontier of college bowl landscape for Texas, if you're not in the playoff, which is the goal, but if you're not in the playoff, then you're casting a longing glance toward the Sunshine State, because there's 3 bowl games there. The Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, the ReliaQuest Bowl, that one's in Tampa, the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, ReliaQuest in Tampa, which used to be the Outback Bowl, and then the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville. And from all indications, Tep, it looks like it's going to be Orlando, and probably against the Michigan Wolverines in the Citrus Bowl. Now, it does give new meaning to what Steve Spurrier, when he was coach at Florida, used to say derisively at Tennessee, you can't spell citrus without UT. So it does kind of give new meaning with regard to the Longhorns. But if you can't be in the playoff, that is – and here's what the SEC thinks of the Citrus Bowl. The Citrus Bowl, and I think the ReliaQuest and maybe the Gator, are all allowed to pick and who they want from the conference to represent. And the Citrus Bowl has the first pick, ReliaQuest has the second, and the Gator has the third. Everything below that, Music City Bowl, Independence Bowl, Liberty Bowl, Texas Bowl, all the other bowl tie-ins, the SEC assigns teams to those bowls. So, but they allow those other bowls because they think so much of them to do it, and the Citrus is at the top of the pecking order, and I think the Citrus is going to shoot for a Texas-Michigan matchup on New Year's Eve, and that's not an awful consolation prize.
It's Texas High Football Hall of Famer Craig Way joining us here on Texas Football Today, as he does every Thursday here. Get involved in the conversation, #TFToday. All right, Craig, on to the high school ranks. And the storyline of the regional finals, I think, broadly, is the preponderance of rematches, of games that we have seen earlier this year. 20 of them, 20 of the 44, including one of the state semifinals with Rankin taking on Water Valley in the 1A ranks. From your perspective, and obviously there's a big one in your backyard with Vandegrift taking on Dripping Springs. That's a week 1 rematch from way back in August, and now they'll play in December. The adage is, well, it's hard to beat a good team twice. When it comes to these type of rematches, and we'll talk about one that you're going to be on the call on in a minute, where do you stand as far as that old adage of, well, it's hard to beat a good team twice? Is there some sort of different way that you think about these games when we've seen it before, when we have that particular data point?
Well, usually, not always, but usually when you get to a regional final, a state quarterfinal, and two teams are meeting for the second time, it's because they're both really, really good. And in that first meeting, one team did things usually a little bit better than the other. Now, in the case of the Vandy game, Dripping Springs did a lot of things better in that first game way back in August to win by the margin they did at 41-14. But I would submit to you, and I think Drew Sanders would as well, it's a different Vandegrift team now. Miles Tadecki is finally completely healthy again, and their defense is playing like it did in their state championship run a year ago. That said, Dripping Springs has been as consistent as about any team in the state in any classification, how they've steamrolled a lot of opponents, and when they had to lean on their defense, they did. And, so they've been really good. So I'm really looking for that matchup. Now, you were going to lean into this Aledo-Denton-Ryan game that I'll be calling tomorrow night on Victory Plus. Mm-hmm. One question that I always ask coaches when it's a rematch is, what do you see different? Mm-hmm. Do you see much difference? And in talking with Dave Hennigan this morning, the Ryan coach, he said, well, they're getting better quarterback play. And, of course, that got separated. Ironically, the quarterback play got separated in Aledo's 15-14 win over Ryan. It was in that game that Lincoln Tubbs really separated himself from Nash McElree because they both had played quite a bit. And Caden Winkfield has come on a long way. And, of course, we know how good Caden Finley is and what he's done. So he said, it's mainly the quarterback play. And usually there might be one ingredient, and maybe you can pick out one out of each of these 20 rematches and say, here's the reason, what one coach sees differently from the other.
Finally, Craig, it's the meanest thing we do to each other each week, and I'm going to give you 3 games and tell you that you can only go to one of them. And in this particular group, I am going to intentionally avoid the 20 rematches. So it's only games that we will see fresh this year, although these are programs that are no strangers to one another. Would you go to the Houston area for Galena Park North Shore taking on Dickinson? Would you go to Bryan to watch South Oak Cliff and Port Neches Groves? Or would you make the trek to beautiful Wolf Stadium in scenic Colorado City to watch a 1A Division II state semifinal between Jayton and Klondike? Which of those 3 are you heading to?
See, I threw that one at you as well because that's got a lot of excitement about it. It is. I totally, and I'll tell you what, there's plenty of other consolation prizes among those who are doing the rematches, obviously. For me, I think it would be North Shore Dickinson, and here's why. Remember earlier in the year when we were talking about Ridge Point and saying this is their moment now, they get a chance to show. Well, now it's Dickinson's moment now if they can get past North Shore. What North Shore won the region 7 straight years, I think it is. Mm-hmm. So if not now, when? And so here you are at the Elite Eight, and I love the matchup of both sides offensively against the defensive side. Now, having said all that, South Oak Cliff, Port Neches Groves may not be a rematch, but it feels like one, right? Yeah. Because of state championships of the past. And then obviously Klondike and Jayton. Can this be Klondike's moment? Yeah. Get over the hump against a team in Division II that was as good as it is. So, and by the way, you're passing on the drama of Strawn and Richland Springs. Oh, yeah. And if you can talk about 2 programs that invoke the word drama, it'd be those two, right?
That is truer than baby people realize. Very, very true between Strawn and Richland Springs. He's Craig Way. He's the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. You can hear him call Alito and Denton Ryan with our friends at Victory tomorrow night, and you can catch him on AM 1300 The Zone in Austin. Craig, appreciate your time, my friend, and we will do it again next week when we punch more tickets to AT&T Stadium.
Happy Kraut Bowl 2.0 to you this weekend.
Absolutely. Thanks, Craig. There he goes. Craig Way, the Texas High School Hall of Famer, joins us every Thursday here on Texas Football Today, gives us a bit of a statewide perspective across the state. And yeah, he's exactly right. Kraut Bowl 2.0, Munster and Lindsay. Exciting stuff. Kraut Bowl.
I love it.
It's very, very good. Those are two old rivals. We talked about it when they played the first time. Those are two, actually, it's pretty friendly rivalry. But, like, obviously, a lot at stake this week. So they might go from friendly to, like, mostly friendly in that rivalry. It's time for Mailbag. We're answering your questions about high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel. Get them in the comments, Facebook and YouTube. We will get to a few of these right now as soon as I finish this sentence.
Hey, guys. Okay, so Golf Gorman 08 asks, can Waxahachie make magic twice and beat Duncanville when they face off for the second time this season? Or do you think Duncanville is going to play with vengeance, come swinging out the big boots?
Matt Stepp brought this up and on Tep and Stuff this week. Waxahachie beating Duncanville twice in the same season would be amongst the most impressive things we've ever seen. I mean, we were trying to think of the list of coaches who have beaten Reginald Samples 2 meetings in a row. The list is like John Kay and Tom Westerberg, and that might be it.
Really a list.
Like, people don't like they don't take consecutive losses to the same team very often. That's one thing. The other thing to remember is that when Duncanville lost to Waxahachie, that was just, even though it was in mid to late September 19th, that was only Duncanville's second game of the year. So that's a weird oddity about this too. Now, that said, I think Waxahachie's got a real shot in this game to do it again, because I think that what they did last time was pretty repeatable. They ran the ball well enough. They got enough in the passing game from Jerry Meyer, but more importantly, their defense, I think, matches up with Duncanville well. I mean, if you haven't seen Jaquan Snell from Waxahachie, he is a dude. Now, I think Craig Way brought this up. These are different teams. It is a rematch, but you have to consider these to be different teams. And Duncanville, I think, has really changed. Specifically, they figured out the running game with Ace and Theus. I will say this. Waxahachie won that game in week 2, or the second game of the year for Duncanville. They won that game despite being -2 in the turnover margin. If they are -2 in the turnover margin, that is not repeatable. That is not repeatable. Okay, that is a promise. You cannot be -2 in the turnover margin and beat Duncanville. I like Duncanville to get some revenge. That game was close enough that I think that there's a couple of things on the margins that Duncanville can have improved on. But I think that Waxahachie matches up really well with Duncanville, and it would not be a surprise to me if Waxahachie pulled off the double dip. But I'm going with the hard to beat a good team twice mantra in this particular element. I think Duncanville is the team to beat in this game. So they can do it, but I think Duncanville is your favorite. What's next, VNA?
We also have Sam Little asked, Tep and Step pointed out that Allen and Southlake hadn't been tested to this point in the entire season. Do they finally meet an opponent to make them sweat?
Well, I'll say this. I would push back only slightly against the framing, in that I do think Southlake Carroll has been tested, and I do think that Allen has been tested, and ironically, it's by the same team. Southlake Carroll against Prosper last week, and Allen against Prosper in week 9. For Allen, this is against North Crowley. This is, in my opinion, undisputedly their toughest game of the year so far. This is the toughest team they've played so far in North Crowley. The defending state champs, 6A Division 1, playing really well. This is undisputedly the best team they've played. For Southlake Carroll, I think Prosper, I think last week was their toughest test. Geyer's probably, I think, on par, maybe slightly better than Prosper. Especially, I will say this, Geyer's defense is better than Prosper's defense. And so at least for the Carroll offense, I do think this is going to be their toughest test of the year. I do think they get tested. As you saw in the picks, I like North Crowley to beat Allen, and I like Southlake Carroll to beat Geyer. North Crowley, I think Geyer's a clear favorite over Geyer. I think North Crowley is a slight favorite over Allen, in my opinion. But they will certainly be tested this week in the regional finals. There's no turkeys left after Thanksgiving. What's next?
Somebody was asking about, and that somebody is Jerry Massey. He was asking about your playoff prediction record so far, and how does it compare to last year?
So I don't have all year because I started doing that and then I got lazy and stopped. It's not because
You see, guys?
I know. I ended up, I do have last week's. Last week,
I do want to hear this.
I finished, I tweeted this at some point, la 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 la. I went 72-16 last week. 72-16. I shot 81%. Okay. Basically, that is about where I bob along, is about 80%. I will usually get, and something you got to remember, especially in the playoffs, in the first round, I might be up near like 90%. That's not me telling you how great I am. That's just the truth of there are more mismatches. I hope I'm saying that correctly. There are more mismatches that are easier to call, and harder games. As the games get harder, invariably my percentage is going to slip. I should land at about 80% on the year. Like when we get to like this week, I'll probably of the 44, I'll probably get what's 75% of that? Like 32. I'll probably get like 32 of those right. In the state semifinals, I'll probably get about 70% of them right. And then in the state championship games, I'd love to get 70% of them right. I would say I shoot about, as a whole for the playoffs, about 80%. I will be wrong on 12 games this week. That's just invariably, I will be wrong on 12 games. And the fun thing is, I don't know which ones.
This guy.
All right. You got a couple more?
Yes. Patrick V4N says, what can you say about the FBC Kilgore game? Kilgore has had a cupcake schedule for the first 3 games. FBC seems to be a decent football team. I think Kilgore still wins by 2 or more scores. I
think Kilgore's your favorite. I think Kilgore is probably a little bit, throughout the course of the season, a little bit more battle-tested. Although Fort Bend Crawford has a win over West Orange Stark. They're still playing. That's impressive. That win over Lindale, I think, is their signature win right now in the area round, or the regional. The area round. That's their signature win. To me, this is going to be a very different team from the teams that they've played, in the sense that Kilgore is going to be undisputedly the most physical team that they have played, especially in the fronts. They're going to be physical. Can Crawford match up with them? Can Kilgore find a way to slow down what has been an electric passing attack? Braylon Fisher for Fort Bend Crawford is the real stinking deal. He's got 2 receivers in Alvin Mosley and Justin Butler, who are dogs on the outside. I like Kilgore because I think their trench play, they are more tested up front. But Crawford is not some flash in the pan. Crawford is not some like fly-by-night program. I think this is sustainable. And I think what they've been able to do and build there in short order is really impressive. I like Kilgore, though. I think Kilgore, Case and Brooks and Company, Lakili and Graves, I think they get the win. You got one more?
I have one more. 1 second. Sorry, I was looking at comments on Instagram.
Okay.
There we go.
Everyone's just like, cool photo, V&A.
Okay.
What's your name on Instagram?
Okay. V&A. It's just V&A. One more from Tony Blaylock. He asks, what does Willis need to do to have a chance against DeSoto? And he's also very happy that we talked about the raccoon in the pre-show. So,
okay. Willis and DeSoto. I mentioned this in the picks. I don't know if there's a team in Texas playing better right now than DeSoto. They are rolling. And they've figured things out offensively. Figured things out defensively, but to me, it starts with the offense. It starts with Sherrod Baker. They got Booby Feaster on the outside. They figured out how to best distribute the ball. Now, I think for the first time, for the first time this season, DeSoto will play a team that has a more dynamic weapon than them. And that's Jermaine Bishop. To me, this comes down to Willis, their protections, their ability to protect the quarterback, and look, I don't know if you guys know this, but Willis is rolling with a freshman quarterback right now, Lincoln Frazier. Now, he's been great. He's been awesome. But this is big boy moment, big time spotlight. Can the Willis front keep him clean? And when he is invariably under pressure from this DeSoto front, can he hold his nerve? Can he make some big boy throws? I think DeSoto's your favorite because they're rolling right now. They're rolling right now. But I like DeSoto, but certainly Jermaine Bishop can put on the cape. And that's probably what it's going to take to get the win. That sound good to you?
Sounds fantastic.
Okay. That is going to do it for us. And tomorrow at noon, Tep and Step will roll on this very space.
So you keep talking.
And then Saturday nights, Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. V&A Moreno is putting together a show. That's not true. Texas Football Tonight is done for the season. But we will have you covered on all of our socials and on TexasFootball.com all weekend long. We will be back Monday for Texas Football Today. That is going to do it for us. Thanks for spending part of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Corey Laxton, head coach of the CE King Panthers, and to Craig Way for being our guests. For V&A Moreno, I'm Greg Tepper. We will see you Monday on Texas Football Today.
Goodbye.